It's 2 o'clock.
It's 2 o'clock. We did it.
Hello. Wow, T's here early. Hello, T.
Early? She's on time. Let's just give
Hello,
everybody
Chelsea.
some time
Hi, Chelsea.
to get here.
A long time no talk. We were literally just talking to each other.
You guys are so funny. I'm gonna die. Did you bring me a coffee? Because you brought yourself one. Just wondering if you loved me a little bit. What's new? Who?
I made this before I got ready.
Oh,
It's,
that
like,
means that you
cold
couldn't
now.
have like made it for me. Made me one that was also cold now. I wouldn't mind. Oh wait, things in front of you.
Eek. So I don't know how many people are joining. I know Kristen can't make it, but I hope she's able to finish the book soon and join. So just like a fun little backstory, not backstory, but last night I really, really, really wanted to talk about the book and Kivox didn't finish it yet, so I was like, we should listen to it. And then I totally regretted it because he put it on the TV and then I started crying at the end.
What?
Again.
Oh, the book. Yeah.
And then I started crying. And I was trying so hard to like hold it in and you laughed at me because my throat was like squeaking. It's just so many emotions.
I'm gonna just put it out there. I'm pretty sure we all loved the book, right? I'm pretty sure we all thought it was great.
T said that ending though, he went there, shame on you, Sanderson, but that makes it so genius. The fact that he is willing and able to kill off the two main characters in the book is awesome.
Hopefully everybody read it.
Yeah, I should have put a spoiler warning. If you haven't read this book, do not watch this. Don't watch it. Don't do it. She said, yeah, he's a genius. So I don't know if you guys wrote any like talking points. There are like so many things to talk about in this book, and I feel like this book brings so much from the other two stories. I basically just kept notes on my phone while reading it because it was way too much to like tab in the book and I didn't want like 8 bajillion tabs. So I literally just like kept running notes like as things were going through my head as I was reading it, and I figured I can bring stuff up that way to talk about, or you guys, if you have stuff that you want to talk about, definitely pop in and say it. I think no, Chelsea said, I agree he's a genius. Hello, fam. And I think I would have been mad, excuse me, if you didn't do it, because when all the characters survive, that's kind of an adventure that's not realistic. I agree. I hate when none of the main characters die. I mean, I thought that Vin was gonna die at the end, because, I mean, obviously she, like, basically became preservation at the end. But
see, I didn't think she was gonna die because of that. I just thought she was gonna die because she was gonna like fight him or whatever. So good.
So yeah, I mean, what I understood at the very end was that, like, and we kind of talked about this last night, that preservation and ruin were they used to be one entity, and at some point they somehow got split up, and that's how like all this chaos started happening and why like the world was imbalanced. And that's kind of like what Cesar realized at the end, was that like they needed to be put back together again to like maintain the universe or the world. When they cut Ellen's head off, I was like, oh no, you didn't. Dude, I just burst out in tears. I was like, this is like my worst nightmare, like watching your loved one die, because Vin was literally like watching it happen. And
she was okay with it.
Like, oh, it just broke my heart. I was like just thinking about like, what if I watched Kivox's head get chopped off?
You'd be okay with it.
No! I was like crying so hard. It was so bad. I hate when no one dies too. I was always devastated, but I preferred that. Yeah, I mean, Clubs and Dachshund died in the last one, which they were like I would say even tertiary characters. They weren't like main characters. And then really, who else died besides the Lord Ruler? No one really... Kelsier, obviously, in the first book. But, like, no one major died in this book until the very end. But, yeah.
What was your favorite revelation or whatever?
Probably that Sazed was really the hero of ages.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
I was like...
That's pretty cool.
What? And even he had said multiple times at the end of the book that it was Vin. And he thought it was Vin. And it was like, we learned when he came to the realization that it was him. It was like, oh my god.
I feel like the best reveals in TV and books and stuff are when you figure it out like seconds before they tell you what it is. You know, when they blatantly, and you're like, oh, that's my favorite thing about like Lost.
That's really them telling you. You know what I mean? They make it obvious enough where you figure it out on your own slightly before they...
Yeah, that's the best.
Yeah.
That's what I just said.
But it's still them telling you in a way. Like,
I know, but you figure it out right before. At least, like, I figured it out, like, seconds before I read it. So it was like, that's what I'm trying to say. And then, what are you trying to say?
It's still them telling you enough information, so they're still telling you. You're not really finding it out before.
Seconds before. Do you not understand what that means? It's like, the sentence before they blatantly say it, you're like, oh, man. What if he's the hero? And then it's like, and I became God. And it's like, oh my God. I was
like so mind blown that he basically became God. And I thought it was so super cute how he, and like smart that he left his notes and every bit of knowledge that he had on the world for them to like find. And he was like, make sure that this knowledge is like spread across the land so this never happens again, basically.
It was so freaking good. I think Brandon Sanderson is my my favorite
author.
Yeah.
The only thing I didn't like about the series, I never felt the connection between Vin and Ellen. I feel like they definitely have a unique relationship, but you have to realize that Vin is she didn't have like a regular upbringing. She had kind of a messed up upbringing. Like, her brother was not very nice to her. And, like, she then got into that, like, street gang, basically. And they were, like, beating her up and stuff all the time. Like, she had... If I were in her shoes, I don't know that I would be any different. And I just love the fact that, like, no matter what, they stuck with each other. My friend doesn't ever want anyone to die. She almost stopped reading the first book when Kelsier died. You have to have death, otherwise it's just boring. When the other character thought it was Kelsier, I had a little faith, and I couldn't imagine that Sanderson would bring back a dead character to life. He didn't do that kind of trope. I thought that Sazed at the end brought back Vin and Ellen.
Yep, because they were
holding
hands.
But then I was still happy that they were dead, even though I was so sad.
I mean, it would make sense if you did.
That's the part where my voice creaked because I was trying to hold it in.
It would make sense if he did. He was God. You know, he could do it.
But he said, like, he didn't...
he didn't figure it out yet.
He didn't figure out how to, like, attach the soul to a fixed body. But then, then I cried again when he was like... But I spoke with Vin and Ellen, and they're fine where they are, and we need to let them, like, take a break. And I was just like... Why?
I didn't cry.
No, I did.
But I felt sad and happy and amazed.
When please give me a shout out. Hello, Julie. I figured it out. He was the hero because the way the text at the end of the chapters felt like him talking. I had suspicions for a while.
Well, I mean,
I just thought he recorded everything that happened.
I knew it was him reading.
You did. I didn't.
Yeah. You were like, who do you think it is? I'm like, it's Sazed. It's obviously Sazed because it sounds just like him. And he read all the other ones in the other books, so why not? Why not him in this one? For
some reason, I didn't think about it, and when I asked you, I was like, oh yeah. But I just thought it was him, like, because he's a recorder of history, basically, usually religious history.
Yeah, that's why it made sense, and I was like, yeah, it's probably just him. He's just recording, like, the end.
Writing history.
So obviously he lives.
Excuse me. Oh my Sazed. Hello, Customs. That doesn't mean he won't bring them back, but that's okay. He's a god. Yeah, I mean, he could technically bring them back, but I don't think he will.
I mean, the next book is like 400 or 200 years later, so
yeah, it's
you
a
know.
long time.
I wonder what that one's about. I feel like it can't be something as.
I'm so glad we decided to read in the order that we did because I don't want to delve back into this world right now.
I do.
Like I need a break.
I don't need a break. I want to know more. I want to reread them now, knowing what's going on and paying attention.
Genius.
I know.
Like literally last
He's my
night,
favorite author of all time.
we were talking about like the little teeny tiny
The
things.
earring, I called the earring way
did.
like halfway through the book. I was like,
did.
the earring. That's how he's talking to her, and then
Ruin.
And then when they revealed that, I was like, yes, the earring. I love it, and I love it because it just makes sense, and it calls back to everything in the first and second book. It's just so good.
Alloy is so different, but still so good. So it's like the next ones, I guess.
Oh, got it.
I feel like I want that series to be done. I'm afraid of a second part. I'm scared it will ruin some of the stuff, even if he's Sanderson. That's kind of why, like I said, I just want a break. I just need to, like, take a step back.
So I literally think of this as Avatar and then Korra. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about The Last Airbender, Avatar, and then The Legends of Korra, which are literally like, let's say like 100 years. It's like the next generation.
No, it's not 100 years because some of the people are still alive.
Yeah, whatever. It's like a whole generation later, and it's not as good, but it doesn't make the first one bad. Do you know what I mean? And it doesn't like take away from the first one in any way because the first one was like really really good, the first Avatar series, and then the second one I feel like wasn't as good. It wasn't as epic. It tried to be epic too fast, and I'm hoping that the good thing is that it is Brandon Sanderson.
So T said I need to watch Avatar. I never did. Shame on me. I'll do that soon. Or I'll get on that soon.
Definitely.
So, what did you think about essentially the mist being the body of preservation and the ATM being the body of ruin? Was it preservation that did that to ruin, or how did ruin's body become ATM?
So from what I understand is that yes, so preservation used its power to lock away part of his power.
See, yes, but that was the Well of Ascension.
No, the Well of Ascension. Oh, what?
That's what I thought. Like preservation, basically.
I thought the Well of Ascension was preservation.
I wrote it down. I have to look.
I think the Well of Ascension was preservation, and then the mists
basically,
were also preservation.
The Well of Ascension was created to trap Ruin. That was like how preservation like betrayed him. Like, because their whole thing was, you let me create mankind and I'll let you ruin it. But he ended up trapping Ruin in the Well of Ascension, essentially, and went back on him. Wait, that's a really good plot twist for the ATM, and when you think about it, they ate Ruin. Yeah, but I thought it was, like, kind of unique how even if you use up the ATM, the energy, like, which is similar to, like, our physics, like, the energy doesn't get used because you cannot, like, create or destroy energy. You just use it and, like, it goes off and, like, gets reused.
Changes form.
So, like, when the ATM is burned, the energy goes back to the pits of Hathsin and then are regrown into new ATM, basically. Do you think Reen was ever actually there? Or do you think it was Ruin the whole time?
It was Ruin the whole time.
Like, even, like, beating her
Ruin
up as
was
a kid?
Oh.
Or, like,
when
she was younger?
I think, he existed, if that's what you mean.
I know that he existed, but did he, like, stay with her that long? Like, how did he really die?
He got captured by the Inquisitors and got tortured and then killed. They said that in the first or second book.
I know, but I didn't know if that was, like, made up.
They never said that it was, so I'm going to assume that it's real. Like, they never implied that it was fake, so why would we think that?
I don't know, just a thought.
No, I'm just saying, like, no, I don't, he was real, and, but him in her head was always her remembering and also what's-his-face influencing her.
What did you think about the Lord Ruler's friends?
I love that the Lord
being the
Ruler was
first
like a good guy.
generation Khandra.
That was awesome. I think it was awesome that he was a good guy. And I just realized that the chat is not on screen. Sorry, guys. Let me put it right up here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it was awesome that that he was a good guy. I love that. The fact that like he was influenced by Ruin, and that's what made him slowly become worse and worse. He wasn't like perfect, you know. He wasn't pure.
Well, even says it at the very end. Said like he was a good man. Like he did the best he could, and he thought he was doing good.
Yep. And but then again, he was influenced by Ruin. Ruin made things worse and worse and worse as they went. It wasn't like.
Oh, T said she told us it wasn't on chat. I'm sorry I missed it. He tried to preserve the human race. She said it was Ruin. He saw a weakness in her and used it, in my opinion. I think, and now like hearing what he had to say, like I think it's probably that the voice in her head of Reen the whole time was Ruin, but like it was actually Reen in physical form up until
Yeah, I mean, of course
end.
it was. They said that they captured him and stuff, and tortured him, and he wouldn't give her up.
Yeah.
Why would that story exist if he wasn't there? He wasn't a real person.
Chelsea said, I liked finding out the Lord Ruler was a good guy and another good twist. So yeah, I thought it was really, really cool how like he the Lord Ruler like went so far to try to make sure that the original ferrochemists were basically destroyed, but his friends were made into mist wraiths and then made into the first generation of Khandra.
Well, no. It was
all the ferrochemists were made into mist wraiths.
Yes.
And then his friends.
I think all of his people, right, were.
No, the thingies, the ferrochemists.
Oh, okay.
Because he didn't want the ferrochemists around and becoming like him.
Okay.
Yeah, I wrote it here. Every living ferrochemist was turned into a mist wraith.
So could like a ferrochemist and a allomancer breed and possibly make a.
I don't know. I think that's what he was afraid of.
I mean, that would be easy, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that that's what he was afraid of, because even the ones that. So basically, all of the terrorist men were castrated, I believe, even if they were ferrochemists or not.
No, well, there was a breeding program, so they weren't all.
But the ones that weren't part of that were.
Okay.
Because he didn't want it to come out later in their bloodline and have someone just pop out with ferrochemical powers. Lord Ruler is a good one, but he still killed a lot of people and put some to slavery. That's true. I mean, it's kind of like the Snape thing.
No, but see, I think that he didn't do it because he wanted to. I think he did it because he was influenced. Just like everybody else that was influenced in this story. Like the citizen. He wasn't a bad guy either, but he was being influenced. Marsh was being influenced. Marsh was super good, and he ended up being super bad. Even though he was like powerful, I think it was all an influence, and it was like 1,000 years of him trying to resist him. And he still like was able to fight and like make all the storage places and trick him and like deceive him. If it wasn't for the Lord Rulers like thinking ahead,
well, and
nothing would have happened.
There's caverns underground. That's how the human race survived.
That's what I said. Yeah, and the storage places and stuff, and having the Khandra have their Order 66.
He's like Snape in Harry Potter. We found out he did good, but he didn't erase the bad that he did either. Our minds work in the same way, Meek. And then it was Snape really a good person? T. I mean, no, I don't think Snape was good per se, but I don't think everything he did was with bad intentions. But same thing with like the Lord Ruler. I suppose like it's just he did good and bad, but overall he did more good.
You wanna know what I really liked about this is that like it's very rare for me to like a bad guy that's just a bad guy that just wants to ruin, like ruin. But this is great. Like this is the best bad guy that's just a bad guy. It's because he's a bad guy ever. Like I've never seen it written well. It's always like, Why is he bad? Because he wants to kill everybody. And it's just like,
said, I agree. The Lord Ruler was influenced by Ruin. Hello, Nina. We are good. I don't like when bad guys are just bad because for no reason. I need a background story. I agree. Like, I don't think that anyone is, like, inherently bad.
But
like,
think about it. Ruin literally didn't have a backstory. He's just bad because he was bad. But it was the first time that's ever been written well.
Yeah, I guess.
It's like even like Voldemort isn't written that well. I don't really like Voldemort. I like Grindelwald way better as like a villain, because Voldemort's just bad because he was an orphan and he was kind of crazy. You know, like.
All right. T said, "Why do I keep saying the same stuff as you guys?" So then I wrote down the part, like, Ruin had been trying to put spikes in the crew for years. And then I wrote, like, what if you were right about, Ruin basically gave Vin that earring and not her mother. Because he killed her sister, essentially, using the earring so that Vin would
no, he controlled her mother.
Could he, without her being, having spikes?
How do you know she didn't have one?
I don't, but...
Just like you couldn't remember that what's-his-face had one. But what I'm saying is, like, because he had to... He couldn't he couldn't come, like, and be physical, right, at that point. So he could only control people. So he had to do the thing where he controls somebody, stabs them to take their power, and then gives her the earring to give her the extra power. Mm-hmm. That's what had to happen. He took the power from her sister and gave it to her, and that's what made her special. That's what made her, like, have the extra ability to be able to pierce copper clouds or whatever it was. Is that what it was?
Yeah. So Chelsea said there is a backstory for Ruin and Preservation. It will come out over all the Cosmere books.
Really?
Yeah, but Ruin is bad because he's the opposite of the other thing, Preservation. All the Cosmere planets have shards. I don't know what that means. Oops.
Like remember when we were reading in the book with all the different stories? Mm-hmm. They were talking about, like, how the Earth, that planet, was created.
I don't remember.
With, like, the stones and stuff. There was like some stone.
I'd have to reread it. 11. Hey, can you stop, please?
She's just biting herself, dude.
Jeez.
Leave her alone.
All right.
Just so you know, the dog, like, I'll give her a treat, and, like, after she eats, she's like. And then, like, this one right here, after she eats, 5 minutes after, she's still chewing that last bite of food.
It is disgusting.
For, like, 5 minutes.
I don't know why I do that.
It's so weird. I'm like, Meek, you washed the dishes already, and you're still chewing that food that's in your mouth. It's like gum or something.
So then I wrote, she can see him when the metal's in her body. Ruin has been following her whole life. So I found it was interesting that Ruin physically couldn't read things written in metal. That, like, the metal was, like, blinding to him.
Because metal is power.
So, what was it? I think when Vin was Preservation, she couldn't look at Atium. Like, she kept saying, like, when Ellen burned the Atium, like, she couldn't, like, watch him.
So what you're saying is the metals are what fuel Preservation, and Atium is one another. I found this super interesting. There's still 2 metals left. I thought that was so freaking cool. I was like, hey, Meek, so did we ever find out what those other metals are? And right before they got to the end, and they're like, hey, there's still 2 more metals. Go try to figure them out.
I thought that was cool how they told Spook. I was just like,
oh, that's so great. And they made Spook into a thing. Sorry, we changed the topic. I forgot what we were talking about.
So what I said is that...
The metals, they can't see it.
I think that Preservation can't stare at Atium. It, like, hurts her. But, like, general metal...
Her? Preservation's a girl?
Well, now it is. It was a boy. But now it's a girl. It's Vin. Well, they mentioned... in Vin's eyes, you were reading through her eyes...
Let's just call it Preservation, then.
Anyway,
it's an entity.
They couldn't look at the Atium and burning Atium. But I also found it super interesting how they hid the Atium in the place, the Pits of Hathsin, where it was surrounded by metals and, like, a bunch of metals, so, like, Ruin really couldn't go in there. What were you going to say?
I couldn't see in there, right? I couldn't go.
Did you forget?
No, what I was going to say was the fact that the male and female thing of the chosen one or whatever...
The Hero of Ages.
The Hero of Ages. And Sazed is neither.
Well, he just basically said they left it gender.
Well,
so
no,
the
they
end,
left
he
it
said,
gender neutral because he doesn't have a gender, really.
Well, he said at the end.
That's how he
I
describes
took
it.
it as is like they said it was gender neutral because it was
ended up
actually
being
one
both.
person.
Or neither, he says. I think something like that, something along those lines. That it's either both or neither.
He is a man.
No, but I know, but he's neither. Like technically, like not. I guess technically he is a man, but the fact that he like can't have children and has some bits chopped off makes him. You know what I mean? So it's like that's what I got from it. That like he was like neither and both.
I just
not
got
really both,
that
but
it
neither.
was that the whole thing was like you had to put the two back together and make it one, so it really wasn't like one or the other.
Let's agree to disagree. I agree with you though. I do agree with you, but I also think it's like a little bit of both. But I think you could take it either way.
Chelsea said, yes, there's some stuff about shards in Arcanum Unbounded, but you have to be careful what you read in there because some of the stories will spoil what you haven't read. So yeah, I did film a Brandon Sanderson video. It's not out yet, and I explained kind of like why I'm choosing the reading order I am. And I'm reading the Arcanum Unbounded in pieces, like chopped up like throughout the Cosmere, so I don't get stuff spoiled for me for that reason. T said, there's so much in that book. I agree with Kivox. It makes sense. And the fact that he has so much knowledge, he trained all his life to become the hero without even knowing it. Oh, I know, it's so good. Hello, Jiraiya. He says, I'm late, but I'm here.
It was so good.
The Lord Ruler wrote the cache locations on metal. Was this to keep Ruin away from the caches? So, yes. Oh, yeah, all the caches were near high mineral areas, too.
And the Steel Ministry and stuff.
That is all, like...
Metal.
Yeah.
It was just like this is my favorite book. Out of the three, this one was my favorite because it like wrapped everything up beautifully. It was just, man, he's just a genius. He's
I wrote
just
a page
so amazing.
number, and I want to see like why. So how did Marsh become a ferrochemist? And
the spikes, they spiked them.
I didn't know you could become a ferrochemist through spikes.
You didn't know you could become an what's it called either? A Mistborn through it either. Until they told you could.
Yeah, but you would have to find like a person with each one.
Yes.
And I like how he explained that like there was no sense in like killing a Mistborn to like
you can only take one.
Create one because you can only take one.
Amazing.
It's so freaking good.
I love the weaknesses. Like that's the best part about magic systems is when there are weaknesses and there are flaws to the abilities, to the powers. You can't just have like a perfect the fact that they have to consume the metal to be able to use the metal is just amazing.
So Sazed said, I think over the years, Ruin would subtly twist him and make him do terrible things to his own people. At the beginning, I suspect his decisions against his own people were motivated more by logic than emotion. He was about to unveil a grand power in the Mistborn. He could have, I suppose, kept Allomancy a secret and used ferrochemists as his primary warriors and assassins. However, I think he was wise to choose as he did. Ferrochemists, by nature of their powers, have a tendency towards scholarship. Oh, so good. T says, I think it's my favorite end of a series. Hello, Rosalind. I love how that series is equally good during all three books. Yep. So, I also liked that, like, the hemalurgy thing was Ruin's power, basically. So, like, preservation had the allomancers, but hemalurgy was, like, Ruin. So, Ruin, I think, from what I understood, the Lord Ruler used hemalurgy because he was influenced by Ruin to do so. And, like, that's kind of why, like, the Khandra existed. Because if you think about it, he had the ability to control the Khandra, the Inquisitors, and the Koloss. Like, and Preservation didn't.
Yes, he did.
Preservation?
Oh, Preservation. Sorry. I mean, yes, he did. He was too weak to do it. No, because all the
They literally said hemalurgy was Ruin's thing.
to control them though, because Vin could control it.
True.
It was what's it called? It was just power and burning like the mind ones, one of the mind powers.
This is the kind of book we should have discussed while reading too much stuff. That's why I took notes, because like
That's why I want to do something like that, but it's I don't like to do it via. I like to talk about it like this.
So I also thought it was interesting how essentially, like, I don't know why Vin was able to draw on the mists when, like, in book 1 with the Lord Ruler.
What do you mean?
Because not normal Allomancers can't draw on the mist for power.
Yeah, so.
But why was she able to?
Because she was. Because what's-his-face chose her, just like Voldemort chose Harry.
True,
and
okay,
what's-his-face chose her.
But I thought it was
therefore,
interesting.
So then when her earring got ripped out, she was able to... What's-his-face tried to help her.
So I also thought it was interesting, though, how they basically said Vin taking the power at the Well of Ascension opened her up to be able to absorb all of the mist from the land. And essentially...
They said that?
Yeah. Okay. It, like, primed her, basically.
And she only took, like, a wisp of it before. Against what's-his-face.
Then I started thinking, like, back in the I tried thinking back of, like, the other books, and, like, did she not, like, asking myself, like, when was she not wearing her earring? And, like, that's, like, the one thing that would make rereading these good, because it's, like, the Lord Ruler, when she fought him, she didn't have her earring.
Well, I figured it out when she was talking to Reen, and then what's-his-face, and then she killed what's-his-face, Marsh killed, and used her earring to kill him. And then she's like, oh, what's-his-face must have left when Marsh left too. And I was like, it's the earring. Mm-hmm. The earring's the only reason that... Because when she put it on, and then later they confirmed it with what's-his-face, because when he took out the spike or wherever, the knife tip, he wasn't able to see Ruin anymore, or see Kelsier anymore. So
I thought it was super cool how, like, Spook figured it out and, like, tried to warn
helped.
Vin.
Well, he did.
He
warned her by what's-his-face reading it, the note.
Yeah. So, I also thought it was interesting that, like, the more spikes the hemalurgy, that given by hemalurgy, the more power Ruin had over them. So, like, he had the least control over the Khandra, because they only had 2 spikes. The Koloss had 4, Inquisitors had anywhere from, like, 8 to, like, whatever.
20, at least that we know of.
But, like, that's why Marsh was so controlled by Ruin. Because,
but he was able to fight back for that 1 second.
Yeah. The Terrace Religion was the one that talked about the Hero of Ages in the first place, so I thought, like, that makes sense that really... What did I say to you this morning? Basically, like...
You love me?
No. I did think about that before they said that to me. I was like, Sazed keeps going through all of these religions, and he can't find one that he relates to, yet there's still one religion that he doesn't know anything about, and that's the religion of his own people. And that, I figured, would be the one religion that would basically tell the truth about what was going to happen. Hello, Ethan. And it makes sense also because the Lord Ruler, like, abolished that religion, like, super quickly once he took over.
So what did everybody think about the book? Like, on a rating system?
I liked how the Pits of Hathsin was the Khandra homeland. I thought that was interesting.
Is it Hathsin?
Hath, TH.
Oh, what the hell does that mean?
I don't know.
T's the only one that read it.
5 stars. I love the book rated out of 5 or 10. We usually rate out of 5.
I agree. Out of a 5, I'd give it a 10. Nice.
T says it's one of my favorite series. What did I write? Sazed's idea of combining Ruin's version of the Hero of Ages and the original that the Khandra still remember, they can find out exactly what Ruin didn't know. Oh, him going to talk to the first generation. Oh, what did you think about that whole, like, 16 being, like, the powerful number, and then that's how they found out? Like, I thought it was super cool how the people that were sick for 16 days after the, being introduced to the mist were the ATM burners, and, like, ATM was so rare that they never even knew that ATM burners, like, existed. I thought that whole thing was really cool. I also thought it was cool how basically preservation gave up power to create the mist, but he didn't have enough, like, in him to, like, properly make the mist, and that's why some people would die from it, because, like, the mist essentially just had to do the best they could with creating and helping. 4.9 says Jiraiya. What was the 0.1 that you didn't
Jiraiya,
like?
you let me down, man.
I feel alone here.
What?
That's
Who?
what T said.
Why?
I gave it a 5 on Goodreads, but it's in all top favorites, so 10 out of 5.
Yep.
That's Chelsea.
Nobody joined us on this book, huh?
I thought it was cool how the mists were causing people to snap. The sickness really isn't the mist. Preservation wanted to make mankind, but couldn't do it without ruin. I think that's interesting how, like, they can't create anything except together. Oh, I also thought it was cool how, essentially they tricked Ruin into thinking that, like, his body, so, like, the ATM was, like, stored in a cache somewhere, and, like, they were actually keeping it at the Pits of Hathsin, like, this whole time, and they would take, like, the geodes and take, like, things, like, other metals and travel, like, make the ATM travel with it, so he couldn't see it, and he couldn't figure out, like, what was going on and where it was. The 0.1 was because the ending was kind of sad, losing the two main characters, if I'm understanding it correctly. Yeah, but that's what makes it so good.
Yeah, it's not like every other book where, like,
everyone lives
everybody's
and it's all
happy.
I cried so hard, Jiraiya. Don't get me
So
wrong.
good.
Like,
it's like, imagine The Notebook if they just, like, if she stopped forgetting.
Yeah.
And, you know, she forgot how to forget, and then they lived happily ever after. That wouldn't be a good movie or book. I never read the book.
But, I just think that's so genius. Like, the fact that, like, I love that Sanderson did that, like, and he didn't mind doing that, because, like, people have to die. Characters you love have to die, because, like, it's more realistic. I thought only one of them was gonna die, to be honest. Like, I didn't think that he would get rid of both of them.
I didn't think so either. I thought she was gonna become the hero of ages.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna stay as preservation, basically, and that he was gonna die.
Yep. Or maybe she was gonna take in Ruin and become, like, perfect or whatever, you know, like, be the combination of the two, and then she died, and I was like, oh.
Sup guys, didn't read the book. You're gonna get it spoiled. Hello, Shadow. Dry said, right, like, I totally respect them for doing it, but I still want them alive. I don't know, because even at the end, when he fixed their bodies and they were holding hands in the meadow, he was like, in the letter to Spook, he said, but I spoke with Vin and Elend, and they're happy where they are. Like, I think that's so cute. Like, even though they're dead, and we don't want them to be dead, they're together in the afterlife that apparently exists in this world, and they are happy where they are. Like, I wouldn't want to take that from them. Like, it would suck. Like, they wouldn't be happy if one was dead and one was preservation. Or if, you know, they were separated like that. Sorry I missed a part. The neighbors are doing so much noise the dog wouldn't stop barking. I hate that. At least they're dead together. I agree. Like, I'd rather be... I wouldn't want to live if you were dead. Like, I just wouldn't want to live like that. Especially if I was stuck being basically a god and having to, like, watch the world forever and, like, knowing that, like, you were gone. That would suck. Mew, 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 mew. We talked about that. What? That's true. I'm glad they're together. Plus 0.1. That's what you laughed at. Brings it up to a 5. Yeah, I mean, that's how I feel. Like, yes, I cried my eyes out, and I thought it was super sad at the end. But, like, I also thought it was so genius. Like, oh, when I found out that Sazed was a god, I was just like, I'm done.
He
I
was
don't know.
God.
Yeah. Literally the god.
So are they actually doing, like, a big, like, Infinity War style thing with all the books? Is he actually writing, like, a story that's going to cross over?
I don't know.
Is that what What's Her Face said?
I don't know.
If anybody could do it, it's him or J.J. Abrams. I trust him to do it.
I want
too.
to know, and like maybe there's no reason to really know, but I want to know about the redhead boy that was ruined. And like,
I don't think it was like a human that was. I think
was.
it was just like it was their
used
body.
To be one person.
Okay,
or
so
one entity, and it got separated.
And okay, it got separated and created two bodies.
Nah.
Why not?
I want to know who it was. Yes, crossover, but not all of the characters.
You got anything else, Meek?
I don't think so. I mean, we talked about a lot. I thought it was super smart how Ellen figured out the ATM thing and then they used it all. I literally wrote like, what? Sazed's the heroes of ages and blah.
Comment.
Mostly, Hoyt is crossover, and you guys got to keep your eyes open in the future books of characters from previous books. I mean, I have a bad memory. I'm just gonna say that right now. So if they just describe Hoyt, I'm not going to be able to pick him out if he has a different name, most likely. Because he's never been enough of a character to have a personality in any of these books that we've read so far. So
I've missed them every time. I've never even realized it. You guys talk about it. I'm like, I don't know what you guys. I don't remember this guy.
In this book, he was basically an informant, living in one of the cities that someone was gonna go get information from, and then they decided he looked shady, so they didn't. Okay. That's it. So you never talk to Hoyt in this book. But they mention him and they mention his name. But in Elantris, he was more of a character, but he didn't have a personality. So it's I would never be able to pick him out in a different book. Hoyt is the informant in Elantris and Mistborn, yeah. But I mean, if it's an informant of some sort, then I may be suspicious and think that it's Hoyt in a different series, but I don't know. If you give me a description, I probably wouldn't. So Chelsea says it's a hawk-faced person or something similar he used to have, or he has a distinct personality. I don't know.
But he's only in there for one paragraph. It's it's forgettable. You know what I mean? It's not. Unless he's the one. Was he the one that was helping Spook?
No.
It wasn't that guy, right? That was helping him for a bunch of times.
What guy?
The guy that was helping him a bunch, the guy that was his beggar friend, but he actually was in charge of the underground or whatever. You don't remember this at all? A character that did that with him?
You gotta give me a name.
There wasn't. I don't know the name. It was one of those characters that he talked to a couple times, and he knew who Spook was. Spook knew that he knew who he was.
Are you supposed to know who he is? Hoyt is just a character that Sanderson has said has a connection to every world in the Cosmere, and you're going to see him randomly throughout the Cosmere series. Chelsea said that freed the terrorist people. Didn't Kel talk to Hoyt in the first one, Final Empire? Maybe he did. I don't remember. I think he was in Final Empire and Hero of Ages. I could be completely wrong, though. He's a very forgettable character, which I find is, interesting for a character that's, throughout the Cosmere. But yeah, I think that's all I got.
Yeah. Do you want to tell them about this thing?
Oh.
Yes or no?
I guess.
So this is a invisibility cloak that we got that we're gonna be doing a video about soon. I figured I showed you guys on the Discord or the Patreon. If you guys are on Patreon, I think it's gone now though, because one of those 24-hour things. But it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So don't forget. But these were Sanderson's first books. He's more
What? These are his first books? How is this possible? Oh, man, they should just give this man a trophy.
Invisibility cloak. So Children of Time, I know T already read this.
Look at it. It's invisible.
Yeah. Why?
Because this is invisible.
What the heck? This one is... What date? July 14th, the live stream. And then our next book club book is Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson, which is a standalone. And this one is going to be July 28th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard. This one is also a bajillion pages long. 652. T said, I didn't see the cloak, but then she said, wow.
This is probably partially invisible too.
Yeah. Elantris was the actual first Mistborn, was his next books. That's why I'm reading them in this order. Because I'm trying to kind of stay chronological, but it's difficult because he doesn't write chronologically. That was weird. Yeah, you must... What do you have, some setting on? Do I not have green on my shirt?
You
Oh,
do.
I do.
It's been like that the whole time. I've just been like
Nice.
watching it because I'm like, I wonder if anybody's gonna notice.
I
My
guess
eyes
not.
too. Like you can see through my like reflection and my... You can see the back
My
window
eyes
there.
are green.
Look
They
at
don't
my...
do anything.
Because they're not like green. They're like gray-green.
All right, guys. I think that's it. I hope you guys join us for Warbreaker to continue with the thing. I am honestly not very excited about Children of Time. It kind of scares me. I don't know because I've heard like it's really good. But then your reaction, T, has made me kind of like, is it good? She won't tell me if she liked it or not. And I'm not sure I want to know.
It's really warm.
I can see your hand.
It's gone now.
Shadow says that looks funny. Well, Kivox is now a floating head. I can't tell you. I don't know. See, oh, this makes me feel so weird about it. Like, I want to read it. I mean, I have to read it. How long is this book? It looks super long, but you read it super fast, T.
Well, T's a speed reader.
It's 600 pages. Literally, exactly 600 pages.
Whoa.
It just looks so weird. I'm 60 pages into Children of Time, and it's weird. Everyone keeps saying how weird it is.
All you gotta do is
But I really just want to keep reading and not do anything else. I read it because I needed to know.
All you gotta do is put some invisibility powder on it, and you'll be okay. See? Makes you invisible. Fun,
It looks like it's just like an empty vial, but it's not.
It's a empty vial, but it makes everything invisible. Just put some of that on it, and you're all set. Right, Meek?
Mm.
Do we have any other things that'll work with?
No.
We got this. It looks so cool. That was my favorite book of all year.
Of all
I think
time.
of all time. It was so freaking good. It was so clever. It's just like I wanna meet him someday and shake his hand and be like, "Thank you for Mistborn. It was amazing."
Just that book.
Please. Just you're amazing.
She said, "Wait until you read Children of Time."
Nah, don't hype it up,
Best
please.
book all year?
Please.
I'm sure you will like it, Kivox.
Mm.
Wait for Stormlight Archives. That's another Sanderson series. I hear Stormlight is very good, which gives me high expectations, which kind of scares me. Then again, people say Mistborn is really good, and it is. Mistborn was that until Stormlight. That's some high standards.
I'm very particular.
T said I'm not saying it's the best book of all time.
But this was the best book of all time. I honestly think I like it better than all the Harry Potter books. I like this series better. I would rather live in the Harry Potter universe, if that's a thing. But I would also rather live in the Pokemon universe.
Well, because this universe was kind of scary.
Yeah, it was kind of terrible.
Like,
it was like terrible in every way. But
I mean,
like,
maybe now it would be good.
But man, like this is way better than Game of Thrones.
You like it more than Andrew Rowe?
Yes.
That's what T said?
Definitely. That was one of my favorite series. It's still like my third favorite, I would say, so far. But this is better.
You should read Mistborn, then you will know what we're talking about.
Yeah, definitely read Mistborn, and hopefully you muted us this whole time.
Because we ruined everything.
Because we ruined everything, and that sucks.
Literally.
We need to put a spoiler thing before this video goes live.
Can we choose his other book for August? The first one is small.
Which one?
We are. So the next book, I know I haven't put out my Sanderson video yet. So,
I thought
we're reading Warbreaker for July, and then it's going to be Mistborn, the Alloy of Law for August.
So this is the next book club.
But that's July, mid-July, and then this is the end of July.
This is his other book that we're reading.
That's the end of July.
And it's a standalone.
The end of August is going to be the first book in the next Mistborn trilogy. Oh, she's saying Andrew Rowe, not Sanderson. So you want Six Sacred Swords to be the mid-August book? Is that what you're saying? We could do that. I don't have to let people vote.
No, you don't. We're in charge. I'm the one that
She
knocks.
said no. No what?
Not Sacred Swords.
I'm not understanding. Not Six Sacred Swords. Oh, okay. I remember. The first book in his other series.
Oh.
You want it to be the mid-August book.
Well, what are they called?
Correct?
They're not even in the same universe.
We don't have it.
Wait, what about the ones that are prequels to Six Sacred Swords?
The War of Broken Mirror
Series. What about the Six Sacred?
That's it, I think.
The War of Broken. Okay.
She said that we should read the other ones before Six Sacred Swords.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's do that then. We already have Six Sacred Swords on audio.
It's so hot up here.
It's not. Don't worry, you're gonna leave right after this. So.
It's hot.
Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. And go read some more.
I need to finish my book.
You guys are the true book lovers out of everybody here. So good for you. I'm proud of you, peeps. Why are you checking the weather?
We're supposed to get storms.
Great. How does that help us do an outro?
It's going to help my headaches.
I don't care.
He wrote in the book that we should read Broken Mirror before Six Sacred Swords. Got it. Have a good one, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope we all like Warbreaker. I hear it's really good. I haven't heard much about it, but the people that have read it seem to like it.
It says magic because you have never seen it before.
Do you want me to read you what it's about?
Read me.
Warbreaker is the story of two sisters who happen to be princesses. The God King, one of them has to marry. A lesser god... Nope, hold on. The God King, one of them has to marry, a lesser god, and an immortal trying to undo the mistakes he made hundreds of years ago. Theirs is a world in which those who die in glory return as gods, a world transformed by biochromatic magic, a power based on an essence known as breath, which can only be collected one unit at a time from individual people. But it's worth it. By using breath and drawing upon the color in everyday objects, all manner of miracles and mischief can be performed. Your face doesn't look enthused.
It doesn't sound good.
Brandon Sanderson proves again.
But it's Brandon Sanderson, so I'm willing to, that other one that you loved, didn't sound that great.
Chelsea said Warbreaker is awesome.
I'm sure I believe in him.
Bye.
Say bye, Meek.
Bye, Meek.
You're not allowed to say bye until I command you to say bye. Those are the rules for the videos. All right. It's the only reason I allow it. I allow you to join me on your book club. Okay?
She said the synopsis tells you literally nothing. But that's good.
Okay. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching.